Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be chatting with you guys all about the long-awaited, highly requested budget video today. I don't know that I've ever gotten so many comments on asking me to do a certain kind of video, and you guys really want a budget video. And I can totally understand. You guys see me spending a lot every month on groceries, and I'm gonna tell you exactly how we can afford to do that without going into debt. I have three things that I'm gonna talk about today. I'm gonna talk about the envelope system that we use in order to stay on track. I'm going to be talking about our new budget and things that we do to help it stretch a little bit further. And then I'm also going to be talking about exactly how we stay on budget. So if you guys have been waiting for this budget video, you're going to love this. So let's jump right in. The very first thing that I do is I use Jordan Page's envelope system. I don't know if she's the very first person who ever came up with this, but she's the one that I heard it from, so I'm giving her all of the credit. And the point of this system is you are keeping your cash in your little envelope right here. It can just be a little basic envelope. This one is just from a thank you card. You're writing your ledger on the other side of it. Basically, you're keeping track of it like a checkbook. Right up here, I have January written down. And then what I will do is go ahead and split my envelope into two sections. And the two sections that I focus on every month, since I'm the one who does the majority of the shopping, is I focus on grocery. So we'll write in grocery on the left, and I focus on other, which I put on the right. So for us, grocery is mainly food items and then paper towels and toilet paper. And then other, I like to include diapers, wipes, gas to go in the car. If we needed a haircut, which I cut everybody's hair here, so we never need haircuts. But just for example, if you wanted a new shirt at the store, if you saw a new pair of shoes that you absolutely loved and had to have, that's what I use the other column for. We do about $800 a month for grocery. This is our new revised budget that we have come up with that we are wanting to stick to. So because there's 4 weeks in the month, we're gonna split it into 4. And then I will write in $200 every week for the grocery. For other, we do about, I'd say $50 every week is what it ends up being. So we put $50 in this column. Now you know exactly how much you have to spend on each week. So when I go grocery shopping on the very first week, I would recommend only going to one store per week. And that way you're not gonna overspend. However, sometimes I like to shop for 2 weeks at a time and it just ends up working out for us. In that case, I would just split it by store and use 2 weeks of it, if that makes sense. So like if I'm going to Costco and Kroger, I would just use this for Costco and say like it's for 1 week. And then I would use this one for Kroger and say that it's for 1 week. But I will not step into a grocery store until that 2 weeks is up. The same thing if you're just doing one store for 1 week. Do not step into a grocery store until that 1 week is up. Figure it out. Make it work with what you have at home. And that's how I like to stay on budget. Otherwise, I will spend like $30 to $50 every single time I go into the grocery store. And then you're getting way off track with your budget. Stick to one store per week or 2 stores for 2 weeks, and then don't step into the grocery store until that time is up. So for us, $800 a month is the new budget that we're trying. So let's say I go to Costco and I spend $220. I've overspent by $20. So a lot of you guys are probably saying, just go ahead and borrow from the one below. No, don't do that. You will always need the $200. You know yourself, you know that you will not be able to go into the store and spend less than $200. That's why you made this budget. Don't borrow from below, borrow side to side. So now I just have less money for gas, which means either we walk more, we don't use the car as much, and we try to do things more at home. If I overspent by $20, we're negative 20 over here, I would just take away $20 from here, which means I have $30 left to spend in my other. Now let's say I didn't actually end up spending my $30 in the other column for this week. What I would do is not put that money down here or down here. I'm gonna put it straight into savings. And this is a super easy way for you to start making little cuts here and there. You know that you had $50 to spend, which means you had $50. You have the $30 to be able to put in savings. So we just ended up putting like $20 here, $30 there into savings, and it really started to grow until we could make bigger movements to put more money aside in savings, if that makes sense. You cannot borrow up and down. You can only borrow side to side. You write it out for an entire month. And then I just like to put this envelope in my purse and I keep it like that. And that way you always have it with you. You can also put it in like a wallet or something. I just don't use a large wallet, but she recommends putting it in a large Snap wallet. So that way when you go to get your cash out, you just quickly write out what you've spent. I just find that this keeps track of it a lot better than trying to keep track of your receipts, and you can see it all out on paper and how much you have to spend, how much you have to put in savings, or hey, maybe we've gone over the budget and we need to revise the budget and see if we can afford a little bit more, especially if you know you're going through all the food. It's not a bad thing to revise your budget and add more money to it. You just want your budget to be tight. You don't want a ton of money left over to where you're over shopping and buying things that you don't need. Basically, with our extras, we put them into savings. And then the whole point of the envelope is that you're supposed to keep the cash that you are spending it on. We don't use cash, but that is because we are completely out of debt, and Derek runs like a lot of our finances, and he's very, very responsible with credit cards. So I trust him, and we do not spend beyond our means. We actually use the credit card more like a debit card to where you can't pull more out than you actually are making, but we use the credit card because we get more points. I don't think credit cards are necessarily a terrible thing. But if you are in debt, if you are someone who's in a lot of credit card debt, if you are someone who's in any kind of debt, I 100% suggest that you should be using cash. You do not want to be overspending, and this is really going to help you narrow it down. So take the extra time, go to your bank's ATM, go to where you don't have to pay an extra fee to grab cash out, and just put your cash in this envelope or in your wallet, whatever you want to do, and use the envelope system. It is like by far the easiest, most revolutionary thing we've ever come across, and it really works. Now for the next section, what is our new budget? I told you guys we just revised our budget about 2 weeks ago, which you heard me talk about in the last Costco haul. We are trying out $800 for our new budget. You might be thinking, holy crap, that is so high. I don't have $800 a month to spend on groceries. Totally fine. Don't worry about it. You can scale this down or up to whatever you need. There's 3 of us eating in the family, and then occasionally like we'll give the dogs like treats or things off our plate, things like that. So they kind of count in there a little bit too, I guess, if you were like counting per serving, but $800 a month. And that's because you guys, eating healthy and eating allergy friendly foods is very expensive. That's just the reality of it. And it's sad. If you are on an extreme budget, I would say go with $100 a week and see what you can make of it. Just keep it a tight budget and see what you can do. But for us, $100 a week is not going to get us hardly anywhere. You guys know I also really value buying organically. Another thing that I follow in order to buy organically is a couple of things. One, I will look at the Dirty Dozen list and the Clean 15 list. If you don't know what these are, go ahead and do a quick Google search on them. I'll try and have them up here in the screen as well. And basically the Dirty Dozen list is something that you should be buying organic every single time if possible. Things like onions, potatoes, thin-skinned fruit, things like that, where the pesticides or anything that they spray on it can really become immersed in the fruit. The Clean 15 list is going to tell you everything that you don't need to buy organic necessarily. And that will include things like avocados, where their skin is a lot thicker. The other thing that we like to do in order to stretch our budget is to buy in bulk. Now, this might take a little bit more than like $100 a week to get started, because you're not going to be able to buy very much with just $100 at Costco. Once you can get into a space where you have like some food storage on hand and things like that, like we do, you can kind of shop from your food storage, and that helps with your grocery budget every week. So we like to shop at Costco quite a bit because I love to build our food storage, and I do that within our budget, and I do that by buying in bulk. So it's a lot cheaper for me to buy 8 cans of black beans at once than it is to buy just a couple of black beans. Even though it's more expensive at the time, it makes more sense per can. And then every time I need black beans, I'm not having to grab it at the store. Does that make sense? So I make room in our budget to buy in bulk what we need from Costco. So buying in bulk is a great way to stretch your dollar, and you don't have to run out to the store every time you need something. And more than likely, you won't have to buy it every week either. So that makes a big difference in your budget as well. I also really try my best to not buy fruit and veggie that is cut up already. This is where a lot of stores will get you with a high premium because they're doing it for you. So they're charging you to cut up your fruit and veggies for you. Very rarely will I ever buy fruit and veg that is already cut up. You might see that like I buy the broccoli florets almost every time at Costco. Costco just doesn't have another option for broccoli. It's about the same as what I can buy at the store for regular broccoli, but that hardly ever happens. So just keep that in mind. So like for instance, the mushrooms. I used to buy a little thing of mushrooms for about $4 that was already cut up. It was a small little container, and it would last us maybe one meal because Derek loves mushrooms. Now, when I go to Costco, I just buy them not already pre-cut in a huge thing of mushrooms for the same price, $4. And all I do is I take a couple extra minutes, get out my cutting board, and cut them up myself, which you guys will actually see in a food prep video that's coming in like later this week. And I just already have them ready to go in the fridge. I take a little bit of extra time because I can afford to do that with my time. I cut them up myself. And it saves a lot of money. You can get a lot more for your money as well. So if you're not seeing your food stretch as long as it can, I'd suggest those 3 things. If you're buying organic, buy the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 so you're not buying everything organic, or switch some of your produce to frozen. That's a great idea too. Buy in bulk, and to buy fruit and vegetables not cut up already. Very last thing I want to talk about is how do we stay on budget? This was something that was really hard for me for a lot of years. Because honestly, before I found the envelope system, I would always borrow from below. Always. I was always taking $20 from here, but then I needed to take $20 from there, and then I needed to take $20 from there. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, I have like $50 to spend on groceries this week. There's no way we're making it. So we're going over budget. The envelope system for me really, really does help stay on budget and like capping out. And so when you're at the register, maybe put the things that you could go without at the very end. And if you hit the cap amount, just say, I'm sorry, everything else from here on out on the register, I cannot buy. I'm capping out at 200. But what really, really I find helps is I like to put our money into savings. Like that's where I like for it to go. You may like for it to go into entertainment, or you may like for it to go other places so that you can spend it elsewhere. But this applies for everything. It helps me to have a very, very specific goal. Let's say we want to do a Hawaii trip, which we actually do. We haven't started saving for that yet, but it's in the works. We have other things that we're saving for right now. So if we want to do a Hawaii trip, let's say we budget $10,000 for a Hawaii trip. That's a very expensive Hawaii trip, by the way. But that would include all of your lodging, your food, your airplane tickets, any kind of entertainment that you wanted to do. So it helps me to know that when I'm not spending the $30 right here, that's going towards a Hawaii trip. Like, hello, would I rather have that shirt that I'll wear like once in a while, or would I rather go to Hawaii? I'd rather go to Hawaii. That's kind of how I like to stay on budget. It really helps having that specific goal. Some examples of our goals are definitely we do want to do a Hawaii trip. It's been put on hold just a little bit because baby is coming during the summer. So we aren't going to be traveling this summer, but we also want to be able to put 20% down on a house. That's a huge, huge deal. And you guys know that that's a lot of money. And I know that's not doable for everybody, but actually it is doable for everybody if you stick to this system. It's taken us 5+ years to get here. We also would love to pay cash for our next car. Having those specific, hey, this could go towards a car. Hey, this could go towards our house. Hey, this could go towards a Hawaii trip. That helps me to be able to put that money into savings and stay on budget and say, we don't need goldfish this week, guys. We need to stay on budget so that we can go to Hawaii. And you'll make do. You'll see that you can make do with the things that you have around your house. You can make homemade cookies with the 3 ingredients that you have on hand, things like that. You can get creative and make do. I hope this budget video helped. I could talk about this forever. If there's anything that you're wondering, leave it down in the comments below. I can definitely make more budget videos for you guys if you're interested in it. I love sticking to a schedule. I love sticking to a routine. That is very much my personality, and I love seeing the money and savings go straight up through the roof. That is like the best feeling ever. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye.